Hey everyone, it's Ryan1940 here, and today we're taking a look at sea-power naval combat in the Missile Age, and this is going to be a quick tutorial on the differences between the SM missiles and the Harpoons, and when we should use them in the surface mode, okay? I think a lot of us just kind of default to using the Harpoon, but there's going to be cases where the Harpoon is not the best weapon to be using. In fact, the SM is pretty potent in the surface mode because it's supersonic, so if you can collapse the range safely with a target, it's quite a good missile to use against ships. So in this particular case, we are with the USS Thatch, and we're in the Strait of Malacca, so Singapore's back this way and it's going towards the Indian Ocean. There is a Petya frigate that is somewhere amongst these radar clutters, and we need to go figure out who's who. So we will launch our helicopter. Now, always use your helicopter to clear out segments of the ocean. And I say that because, you know, I tell people when you have your air search radars on, you want them on to detect missile launches from, like, say, missile boats. But when we get those detections, the thought is to just counterfire at it with a harpoon, right? You can do that, but you have to know beforehand that that area is clear, and you can clear out areas with your helicopter. If I flew down a bunch of different bearings like around here, and I made sure that these were only merchants that I saw, and that we got some missile launches up here, if I cleared that with my helicopter, then I know there's no merchants, and I can feel safe to fire a counterfire at it. If we get missile launches down here and I haven't gone up that way with my helicopter and I don't know that it's clear, I might not want to use the Harpoon because I don't know if there's going to be civilian boats in this little narrow waterway, busy waterway, that I might hit. Okay, so it's just that simple. You want to use your helicopter, look out ahead as much as you can before the conflicts happen, and so that you know you're clear to fire if something does pop up. Okay, you can only do that if you're preemptively, like, searching for things. Okay, but in this instance, we're going to just take a look at this group that we've put up here just for a demo's sake. So I want to change my altitude to 1,000 feet, and I want to turn my surface search radar on. Okay, we got more targets. We need to find the Petya, and then we need to sink the Petya. Okay, there it is. Let's make sure we got these other guys here. Yeah, they're all civilian boats, so... Okay, so this kind of puts us in a predicament now. We've got the Petya is between, there's a bunch of merchants there, and then there's us. Okay, so if we were to use the Harpoon because, hey, that's an anti-ship missile, why the heck not? We're going to see why that's a bad idea. The Harpoon, if you don't know, is an active guided missile, so it's got its own radar on board. And when you fire that missile, it will fly out to a certain point. Depending on how far away you've told it to go, it's going to turn the radar on. And at that point, it's going to go for whatever the heck it likes the most. You have no say in it at that point, right? Once you've launched that missile, it's on its own. And that is the danger with using a Harpoon. If you're pretty sure you're firing into a group of enemy vessels, like a flotilla or something, then yeah, you don't really care. I mean, certainly you do care if you're going after certain ships, but you don't necessarily care if you hit the wrong ship, right? Because they're all the bad guys. You should care in this scenario because we've got a bunch of civilian vessels that don't know any better that are sitting there, and now we've got this missile that's kind of on its own, going to hit whatever the heck it wants. Now, we told it specifically to go to the Petya, but it's not necessarily going to do that, right? Because now it's starting to look around for stuff, and it's possible it wants to go towards these boats. But I can tell you right now, based on what this is looking like, this missile wants to go towards that big juicy merchant in the back, okay? Petya's right here, and look, the Petya might even cross right underneath the Harpoon, and the Harpoon does not give a care in the world about this Petya. It cares about that big juicy merchant that it sees and getting all those big radar returns. So we're going to see, oh, look at this, the Petya's going to really cross underneath it. That's pretty wild. So this just goes to show you the Harpoon's not always going to be the best tool for the anti-surface job. Okay, you do have SM missiles on a lot of your ships if you're playing as the U.S. Navy, and they're very capable. Like, for instance, if we're going against the Utiloy, now the Utiloy's got but 8 Silex missiles, so those got a range of well, like 20 what, 7 nautical miles or something like that. Okay, if you're able to shoot down all those Silex missiles, and at that point the Utiloid really can't do much to you until you get within, I think, like 8 nautical miles. So once all the Silex missiles are done, you can use your SM-1 missiles, because these guys, their range is going to be based on the antenna height and also the height of the contact that you're shooting at. Okay, so if you can imagine, if the antenna is really high up, you can see a lot further, right? If the target you're looking at is really tall, then you can pick that up a lot further away. So then you can shoot SM-1 missile at it further away. But if it's a tiny guy and your antenna is kind of low, then you're not really going to get great range. But with typically for most ships, you're kind of looking at a range around like 14 to 18 nautical miles. So in this case, this guy's 12 nautical miles away. You can see we got extra range too beyond it. So, oops, sorry, I didn't. I must have clicked on the water or something. Oh, no. SM-1, there we go, that's what we want. Okay. Alright, so we'll see if the SM-1 gets spoofed by chaff or anything like that, but the benefit of using the SM-1 is we have positive control of where that missile is going, okay? It's only going, like for instance on the Oliver Hazard Perry class, this is the CAS antenna, so it's a combined antenna system. It's got 2 antennas in here. One of them is illuminating this guy right now, so you can't see it because it's in that little eggshell. But it is pointing at the Petya, and this missile only wants to go towards where that radar beam is pointing. In fact, it finds its way home just fine. 1 shot, 1 kill is that effective. Once again, none of those other ships were ever in danger, okay? So if you can figure out where the target is and you can understand what your target's capable of, you should try to opt to use the SM-1s. Okay, you don't necessarily always have to use the Harpoons. In fact, you only get so many of them. They're subsonic. They're not that great. They've got the range. That's kind of the best thing about them. But the SM-1s go supersonic, and I've seen them like against Utiloids. If you can punch through the air defense that Utiloid has with SM-1s, they get through a lot they get through with a greater success rate than the Harpoons do, let's just say that. And it only takes a few of them to really mess a Utiloid up. And really once maybe you get 1 or 2 hits on a Utiloid, for instance, at that point the SAM systems are, 1 or 2 of them will be down, and it just makes the rest of the job a lot easier to get through. So that is just a quick tutorial. Yeah, just covering about the basic use of the Harpoon and the SM-1 in situations like this. And there's a lot of cool crafty scenarios out there that put missile boats and torpedo boats and patrol boats in little narrow waterways with a bunch of civilian boats, and using the Harpoon is a quick way to lose that scenario because you're blasting civilians. So keep that in mind when you're playing those missions. If you don't really need to worry about the enemy shooting at you because they're in a little tiny patrol boat anyways, or their missile boat that expended all their missiles in a previous engagement, then just take the time, close the range with your ship, and just use your SM-1 or SM-2 missiles, and you'll be perfectly fine. All right. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.